June 2nd through June 8th. And on June 2nd, Monday, June 2nd, the moon will be in the sign of Virgo, and it's the first quarter Virgo moon. And so, the first quarter is starting to gain coming out of the new moon, and it's starting to build momentum. And so can we, so can our projects, so can our lives. The first quarter Virgo moon on June 2nd is going to be square, 90-degree angle, abrasive action, the sun in the sign of Gemini. Okay, so my advice to you for June 2nd is to target what you want and go for it. All right, this is a great time for all things like Mercury related, because those squares are two signs in the Mercury, they're both Mercury ruled, right? Gemini and Virgo. This is a great time to write, to public speak, to problem solve, because Virgo is a great analyzer. It's a great time to present your case, and it's also a great time to win at games that include hand-eye coordination. So take advantage of this square. We don't always think about squares as being helpful. Take advantage of this time. Now, of course, don't push too hard because it's a square, but with ease, if you take precaution, you can really get what you want. Okay, so target what you want and go. On Tuesday the 3rd, I wrote down, don't let the past stand in your way. What you are seeking for doesn't live there. And that's because the moon's going to be conjunct the south node, the cup of the past. And so we know that, we can learn a lot from our past, but we don't want to live there. And so sometimes when the south node is involved, I'll notice sometimes that things will feel really familiar, or I'll get a little sense of deja vu. And sometimes I find that South Node activity can be really interesting. It can connect me with certain people. But I also find that sometimes when the South Node's involved, those are the people that I don't want to be connecting with. So be aware. I feel like sometimes it comes in as each extreme when you're dealing with the South Node. Now, on Wednesday the 4th, Venus is going to be sextile, positive aspect, the planet Jupiter. And Jupiter is just getting ready it's going to finish up its time in Gemini. It's getting ready to move into the sign of Cancer. It's been hanging out in Gemini for a solid year. And wherever Jupiter lies is where it makes things bigger. Okay, so if you have wherever Gemini is in your chart, that's where the planet of luck and blessings and expansion, and it's related to higher learning. And that is where Jupiter's been hanging out for a while. Now it's going to start to make its way into Cancer. So let's enjoy the beautiful Venus energy on June 4th when Venus in Aries is sextile Jupiter in Gemini. This is a great time for romance, for collaborations, for big business, and for harmony. Anytime Venus is involved, especially in a positive aspect, there's so much harmony and peace and joy and beauty. Remember, Venus rules all the beautiful things of life. Relationships, especially relationships with women, because it's written as a symbol for women. And jewelry and clothing and all that fun stuff, along with like beautiful meal, a garden, harmony, peacemaking, diplomacy. This is all Venus related, and Jupiter is going to expand that and make that even bigger. So I say get out and about, because Gemini does rule your local community. It rules the people around you. So share the love there on the 4th. Now, on the 5th, there is energy for reuniting with past friends and making peace, laying the past to rest. And this Venus energy is going to carry through into the 5th. But we also on the 5th have Mercury in Gemini, sextile Mars in Leo. So Mercury is the planet of communication, the planet of, it rules merchants, it rules roadways and pathways and delivery of information in its own sign of Gemini, where it functions very well. Sextile, which is a positive aspect, Mars, the planet of action, in the heart-based sign of Leo. So this is a good time for reuniting with friends, allowing in the love, laying the past to rest in relationships. Okay, so if there's something that maybe you're looking to clear up from the past, this is a great time to do so. Now, Venus moves on between the 5th and the 6th into its own sign of Taurus, and it does very well there in its own sign of Taurus. So we're going to go into beautiful Venus in Taurus season. This starts on Friday the 6th, and when Venus enters its own sign of Taurus, it's a good time for prosperity, stability, security, and peace. It's a beautiful time, so just really try to take some time out of your life and slow down and enjoy it, and enjoy the harmony, especially on Friday the 6th. Now we'll head into a Scorpio weekend. And so we know that when the moon is in a water sign, that we need a little more rest, right? Scorpio is very, very psychic sign. So our intuition may be heightened. You want to pay attention to the non-verbal, okay? And we're starting to have planets move into the water sign of Cancer, where Sun will be heading there, and Mercury's heading there, and we're heading to a full moon. So things are intense and emotional. So pay attention to the nonverbal on June 7th, Saturday. And then June 8th, make sure to get some rest, because on June 8th, Mercury, the planet of communication, moves into the water sign of Cancer. This is considered a psychic placement. So if you have Mercury in a water sign in general, that would be Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, then you have a psychic placement. And a lot of people who are into this kind of stuff, I have Mercury in the sign of Scorpio. A lot of people are drawn to this kind of thing when they have Mercury in a Cancer in a water sign. So enjoy Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer. It's a great time for rest. Great things can happen in your sleep. We do a lot of healing in our sleep. We're very open. We can receive messages in our sleep. This is a great time to keep a notebook by your bed and write down the messages that are coming through. Good time for rest, healing, therapy, kind words, especially to yourself, poetry, and developing our psychic abilities. So get some rest as much as you can during the season. This is vacation season that we're starting to go to. So I hope that I see you kind of lingering in a hammock. So enjoy it. Now, keep in mind that we are heading to a full moon, and we know things get intense when we're heading to a full moon. Let's pick a couple cards for you. And I got a couple great decks here that I'm working with. Let's pick a couple cards for the week ahead. Haven't looked at any of these yet. Let's see what we get here. This is my new favorite deck called the Magical Hours Tarot. This one just came in recently, and I am so drawn to it. We have it in stock in Kent. This is the Morgan Smith classic kind of tarot deck. Let's pull a couple tea leaves here. I'm really loving this tea leaf fortune card. Oh, that's a lot of tea leaves. Let's just go with those two. And then I am working with another oracle deck. Oh, here it is. I forgot to put the box up here. It is the Queen of the Moon Oracle. So let's see what you need to know this week of June 2nd through June 8th. And we've got the Ten of Swords. And I have to say, I think this is one of the prettiest Ten of Swords I've ever seen. It looks like she's taking like a moonflower shower. And she's got all these swords in her back, and she's got probably feeling really overstimulated. And those swords are all thoughts. Okay, so we know Mercury's making its move into the sign of Cancer. And when I think of swords, I think of Mercury. I think of communication and the way we communicate with ourselves. And so she's really just kind of like, she's really pierced by the swords, but she's basking in the light of the moon. So there's a lot here. Feels like it could be very overstimulating, but it also feels like something's shifting. Okay. And so taking a look at what's shifting, let's see what else we've got. We've got the King of Swords. Now, the King of Swords, more swords, he's the king of air. the king of big business. He is a very analytical king. And interesting that he's holding the sword. She's got all these swords in her back. Let's see what the rest of these cards are. We've got the wisdom card, the waning gibbous 6, wisdom. She's standing on a bunch of books, and she's in her little boat, and she's reaching for the moon. Wisdom. Okay. What else? The handshake card, it says a meeting with a stranger could be important. Handshake. And the rooster, an arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. Interesting. Okay, so you get meeting with a stranger could be important, but then you get arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. We've got a lot here about kind of being stabbed in the back. We have the King of Swords, who's there, who's no nonsense, who's not going to take any garbage. And then we've got almost like this, it feels dreamlike here, this wisdom card, reaching for the moon. It's card 22. And I'm going to pull just a couple more because I'm kind of getting that, like, maybe you're doing business with someone, but maybe you have to be careful because like maybe you're seeing them in a good light, but maybe there's some lights that you don't want to see them in. I think that you're picking that up naturally. Here's the Page of Wands. So the Page is young energy, Wands is fire, and she's kind of looking out to see where she's going to go next. So I whatever this relationship is here, don't put all your eggs into this basket because it's like something could be important, but also don't, like, the whole South Node thing is what is making me feel here like, yeah, maybe there's something important that you need to learn from this person coming into your life, but don't get too involved, and know that there's like a shadow side here that maybe you've been familiar with in the past, but it's like it's coming up again, like wisdom. Did you learn that, if you stand on a pile of books in a boat, you might fall? If you're reaching for the moon like that, you might fall into the water. If you get into this relationship again or give it too much trust, that you might get hurt. That's what I'm getting. I'm just going to pull one more. The Hierophant. And I like this Hierophant because she looks like a young woman. And she's got these guys are holding like the symbol for an eye, like the evil eye. And so there's a form of protection here. And the Hierophant is the higher power. And it's also someone like a great advisor. So it's like, have you learned? That's basically what I'm getting. Okay, so make sure that you are using your intuition, which is so strong this month, and to guide you.